What if I told you that the people who appear in your dreams are never there by accident? That every face you see at night is a message, coded, urgent, and meant only for you. Carl Jung, the legendary psychologist, once said that dreams are the private letters of your soul. But why does the unconscious choose to write its messages in the form of people? Why do the very faces that stir the deepest feelings, love, regret, longing, even fear, return to us in the silence of the night? Think of the last time this happened. You woke up unsettled, maybe even shaken, asking yourself, why them? Why did they come back to me after all this time? And yet the answer slipped away, like smoke you can't catch. Here's the truth. Dreams do not waste their ink. Every character has a purpose. Every arrival carries a meaning. And if you can decode why a certain person walks into your dream, you may uncover a truth about yourself you've been avoiding for years. Let's step further into the dream, because in this journey, we'll explore the 3 most powerful reasons someone comes into your dream. And the last one is the kind of revelation that can change not just the way you look at your dreams, but the way you look at your entire life. To understand why a person enters your dream, we need to step into the mind of Carl Jung, the man who gave us the deepest map of the unconscious ever drawn. Jung was not a mystic spinning tales in the dark. He was a psychiatrist, trained in medicine, who sat with thousands of patients and listened to their dreams. Night after night, he saw the same patterns emerge. Faces that returned, symbols that repeated, stories that seemed larger than the individual life. He once wrote, "The dream is a little hidden door in the innermost and most secret recesses of the soul. Not a superstition, not a trick of the brain, but a doorway." Think about that image. Every dream is a letter sealed by your unconscious, slipped quietly under the door of your waking mind. And you, the dreamer, are left with the task of breaking the seal and learning to read. Unlike fortune tellers who claim dreams are omens or prophecies, Jung believed something more radical. Dreams are not predictions, they are conversations, a dialogue between your conscious life, your decisions, your masks, the story you tell yourself, and a deeper intelligence beneath. Jung called this deeper realm the unconscious, and he divided it into 2 layers. The personal unconscious, which holds your forgotten memories, suppressed emotions, and private wounds, and the collective unconscious, which holds something far stranger. The collective unconscious is like an ancient library, written into every human being. It contains the archetypes, universal figures and forces that have shaped humanity for thousands of years. The mother, the hero, the shadow, the trickster. They appear in myths, in art, in religion, and yes, in your dreams. This is where dreams about people become so powerful. Because sometimes, the person who visits you at night is not just your ex, or your parent, or your friend. Sometimes they carry the mask of an archetype. Sometimes they are the shadow, the part of yourself you refuse to face. Sometimes they are the guide, or the lost child, or even the embodiment of your future self, calling you forward. And here is the unsettling part. Your dream knows before you do. It reveals what your waking mind resists, what your ego refuses to admit. This is why Jung treated dreams as sacred, not random noise of neurons, but letters written in the oldest language of the psyche. A language where every person who appears is both themselves and something more. So the question becomes, which you is speaking through their face? Carl Jung believed that one of the most important functions of dreams is compensation. What does that mean? It means your unconscious balances out whatever your conscious mind is denying, avoiding, or pretending not to feel. Let's put it this way. Your waking life is like walking under the sun. You decide where to go, what to look at, what to ignore, but the unconscious is like your shadow. No matter how much light you stand in, the shadow still follows. And when you fall asleep, the shadow steps forward. Have you ever told yourself, I don't care about them anymore. I've moved on, and then found that very person standing in your dream, looking straight at you? It feels unfair, almost cruel. Why, after all the effort to forget, do they return in the night? This is compensation at work. Your conscious self says, I'm fine. Your unconscious replies, no, you're not. Not yet. Dreams in this sense act like a mirror held up to the parts of you you'd rather not see. You insist that you've buried the grief, but the dream uncovers it. You insist you feel nothing, but the dream reveals longing. You insist you've closed the chapter, but the dream shows you the book is still open. Imagine someone who has just ended a relationship. By day they say to friends, "I'm over it." They delete photos, block numbers, force themselves into distractions. Yet at night, the ex returns again and again, as vivid as ever. Why? Because the unconscious does not respect denial. It doesn't care about your social mask, it cares about truth. Jung would argue, the dream is not trying to torture you. It is trying to restore balance. It is saying, look here, feel this, admit what you've been suppressing. Only then will you be whole. Think of it like a scale. If your conscious life is too heavy on one side, denial, repression, pretending, your unconscious will throw weight on the other side. That weight often takes the form of a person, someone who symbolizes exactly what you're trying not to face. And this isn't limited to love or heartbreak. Imagine someone who convinces themselves they're fearless, bold, unstoppable. They brag, "Nothing scares me." That night, they dream of being chased, cornered, powerless. The dream compensates, balancing the arrogance of the day with the humility of fear. Or consider someone who insists they feel no guilt for a past mistake. Consciously, they push it away. But in the dream, the person they wronged returns, not to accuse, but simply to be there, a silent reminder that guilt still lingers. Compensation doesn't always appear as pain. Sometimes it brings back tenderness you've refused to acknowledge. A dream of a deceased parent might arise just when you've told yourself you finally accepted the loss. The unconscious whispers, "No, your grief is still alive. Let it breathe." This is why dreams can feel so haunting, because they show us not the self we claim to be, but the self we truly are. Think of the unconscious as a wise but uncompromising friend. By day you can lie to others, even to yourself. But at night, your unconscious knocks on the door and says, "I see through you, and I will show you." So when someone you shouldn't be dreaming of appears, don't dismiss it as nonsense. Don't shame yourself for not moving on fast enough. Instead, ask, what is this dream balancing? What truth am I refusing in the daylight that my unconscious insists I confront at night? Because here is the secret. The more you resist, the more persistent the dream becomes. It's as if the unconscious keeps sending letters, and you keep leaving them unopened. So it writes again and again, until you pay attention. This is compensation. Dreams restore the wholeness of the psyche by showing you the side you're ignoring, and often, the messenger is a person, someone who embodies exactly what you claim no longer matters, but still does. So the next time you wake from such a dream, don't brush it off. Ask yourself, what is my unconscious trying to balance within me? What is the truth I'm not ready to say aloud? Because that is the first reason someone steps into your dream. They are not there to haunt you, they are there to complete you. Carl Jung once said that we do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. And in dreams, that darkness often takes the form of a person. This is the shadow, the side of you that you push away, deny, or even despise. And the strangest thing about the shadow is this: it rarely shows up as you. More often it walks into your dream wearing someone else's face. Think about it. You dream of an old friend whose arrogance infuriated you, or a coworker who makes you grind your teeth, or even a stranger who unsettles you in a way you can't explain. In waking life, you might say, "I can't stand them." But Jung would say, what you reject in them is a reflection of what you reject in yourself. Dreams become a stage, and the unconscious casts your shadow in the role of the other. You see them, you judge them, but in truth, you are confronting a piece of your own soul. Imagine a woman who constantly dreams of a rival at work. In the dream, the rival is loud, confident, commanding. The dreamer wakes up annoyed. Why does she keep showing up? But if she looks closer, she may realize that those same traits, boldness, unapologetic self-assertion, are qualities she has buried in herself. She hides them by day, so they rise up by night. Or a man who dreams of an old classmate, someone he always thought of as lazy, weak, unfocused. In the dream, he mocks them or watches them fail. But perhaps what the unconscious is showing him is his own hidden exhaustion, his own fear of not being enough. The shadow doesn't always wear the mask of people you dislike. Sometimes it's someone you admire too much. A mentor, a celebrity, a friend you put on a pedestal. Why? Because you've projected your own potential onto them. You tell yourself, they are powerful, they are wise. But the dream whispers, that's you. You just don't claim it yet. Jung called this projection, the tendency to see in others what we cannot see in ourselves. Dreams expose this mechanism with brutal honesty. They place the other before you and force you to confront what you've denied, whether it's envy, anger, tenderness, or strength. Think of a dream as a mirror, but a strange one. You don't recognize your own face at first, because it's wearing the features of someone else. The person in your dream may be your enemy, your crush, your boss, or even a stranger. But when you look closely, you realize every gesture, every expression, is your unconscious saying, this is you. This is the part you will not admit in daylight. This can be unsettling, even frightening, because who wants to admit that the things they dislike in others are alive within themselves? But Jung would argue this is where growth begins. To integrate the shadow is to become whole, to ignore it is to remain fractured. Consider this: the very people you can't forget. The ones who keep showing up in dreams, they may be carrying a piece of you, a piece that demands recognition, a piece that once embraced could give you back your power. So, the next time a face haunts your sleep, ask yourself, what is it in them that I fear, despise, or admire too much? Could it be the part of me I've locked away? Because dreams do not lie. They bring your shadow to the surface, dressed as another. And if you have the courage to look past the disguise, you may realize that the person in your dream is not your enemy, not your idol, but your mirror. This is the second reason someone enters your dream. They are the shadow you refuse to face, projected onto the stage of your imagination, not to harm you, not to shame you, but to return you to yourself. There is one more reason a person enters your dream, and it is the most mysterious of all. Sometimes the figure you see at night is not just about you, your wounds, or your personal history. Sometimes they carry the weight of something larger, something Jung called the collective unconscious. This is the ancient reservoir of images and patterns shared by all humanity. It is why myths across the world tell the same stories. It is why a child in Japan and a child in Brazil might dream of the same symbols without ever meeting. And when someone enters your dream, they may not be only themselves, or even a reflection of your shadow. They may be wearing the mask of an archetype. Archetypes are timeless roles: the mother, the hero, the guide, the trickster, the shadow, the child. They are not inventions of the mind, they are inheritances of the soul. And in dreams they appear clothed in familiar faces. Imagine you dream of your father, but in the dream he is more than just your father. He is stern, judging, towering like a mountain. This is not simply your personal memory of him. This is the archetype of the father, a universal force that represents authority, law, and protection. Or you dream of a lost lover, but in the dream she is radiant, almost angelic, guiding you through darkness. That is not only your ex, that is the anima, the inner feminine that Jung described, the bridge between your conscious life and the depths of the unconscious. Sometimes these archetypes do not just reflect your inner life, they connect you to something far greater. Jung called this experience synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that reveal the hidden threads of existence. Have you ever dreamed of someone, only to have them call you the next day, or dreamed of meeting a stranger, and then encountered someone uncannily similar in real life? These are not accidents. They are moments when the unconscious steps out of the private and touches the collective, as if your dream and the world outside are speaking the same language at the same time. Jung believed that synchronicity is how the unconscious shows us that we are woven into a greater pattern, that our lives are not isolated fragments, but threads in a vast tapestry. The person who enters your dream at such moments may be more than a memory or a projection. They may be the messenger of this larger pattern. It is unsettling, because it means that your dreams are not locked in your head. They are part of something wider, older, cosmic, and when a person shows up in this way, their presence may feel electric, uncanny, unforgettable, as though destiny itself borrowed their face to speak to you. Think of a woman who dreams of her grandmother. In the dream, the grandmother whispers a single word, "Wait." The next day, the woman nearly signs a contract she's been rushing into, but at the last moment she remembers the dream and hesitates. Days later, she discovers the deal was fraudulent. Coincidence or synchronicity? Or consider the man who dreams of a stranger's face, someone he has never seen. Weeks later, he meets this exact person in a new job interview. The shock is indescribable. A dream stepping into daylight. These moments blur the line between inner and outer, self and other, dream and world. They remind us that perhaps when a person enters your dream, it is not just psychology, it is also mystery. So here is the third reason. The people who come into your dreams may be archetypes carrying messages from the collective unconscious. And at times their arrival is tied to synchronicity, a crack in the fabric of reality where your inner world and the outer world meet. This is why you can't dismiss these dreams, because they suggest that your life is not random, that you are not wandering alone, that even in the solitude of your sleep you are connected to an ancient network of symbols, stories, and destinies. The person you dream of may be your shadow, they may be a reflection of your suppressed feelings, but sometimes they are more. They are the archetype stepping onto the stage, or the universe itself sending a signal through the mask of a human face. And if you dare to listen, to lean into the strangeness rather than run from it, you may realize that your dreams are not only about you, they are about us all. This is the third reason, and it is the reason that may leave you with chills. Dreams are not just images to be remembered, they are invitations. Jung believed that every dream is alive, waiting for us to respond. And when you engage with them, something shifts, not only in the dream, but in you. Here are 3 simple but uncommon practices you can begin tonight. First, write, but don't only record. Most people who keep a dream journal simply describe what happened. But Jung encouraged going further. After writing your dream, add a dialogue. Write down a question to the figure who appeared. Why are you here? What do you want from me? And then let your hand answer, as if the figure itself is speaking back. Don't judge it, don't edit it. This is the beginning of what Jung called active imagination, a way for the unconscious to reply in its own voice. Second, redraw the dream, literally. You don't need to be an artist. Take a pen, a pencil, or even just colors, and sketch the person who came to you in the night. The act of drawing bypasses logic. It speaks in symbols. And as you draw, notice what details come alive. The eyes, a gesture, maybe even something you hadn't noticed before. Jung often asked his patients to give form to their dream figures, because symbols deepen when they take shape in the world. Third, ask the hidden question. When someone enters your dream, we usually ask 2 things: why them, and what does it mean? Jung would invite you to ask a third, more daring question. What part of me does this person carry that I refuse to see? Your ex may hold your tenderness, or your anger. A parent may embody your strength, or your guilt. A stranger may reveal your courage or your vulnerability. By asking this question, the dream shifts from being about them to being about you. These practices are simple: a notebook, a sketch, a question, and yet they can transform the way your dreams speak. Because the unconscious is always sending messages, it is up to you to open them. So now you've seen it. The 3 reasons a person walks into your dream. First, to balance what you deny. Second, to reveal the shadow you refuse to face. Third, to connect you to the timeless archetypes and the strange threads of synchronicity. But what does all of this leave us with? It leaves us with one truth that Jung never stopped repeating. Your dreams are not random. They are revelations. Think of it. Every person who comes to you at night is not an intruder. They are a messenger. Sometimes they carry your grief, sometimes your hidden anger, sometimes your forgotten tenderness, sometimes they are the shadow, showing you the darkness you've buried, and sometimes they are more than personal. They are the whisper of humanity itself, speaking through the mask of a familiar face. It is easy to dismiss dreams, to laugh them off as strange stories our brains invent. But Jung would tell you this: to ignore your dreams is to ignore half of your own soul, because the unconscious is not a stranger, it is you. The part of you that remembers what you've forgotten, that carries what you've refused to hold, that sees what you cannot bear to see in daylight. Picture your dream like a mirror, but not the kind you find in a bathroom or a hallway. This mirror is alive. It shows you not the face you present to the world, but the face you hide from yourself. And every night, that mirror is polished clean and held up again. When a person enters your dream, they are not just them, they are you. They are the page of a letter written by your unconscious, begging you to read. And here is where everything comes together. If you dare to listen, if you write it down, sketch it, question it, sit with it, the dream will change you, slowly, quietly, but profoundly. The stranger becomes a teacher, the ex becomes a lesson, the parent becomes a guide, the dream becomes a dialogue. This is the power of your dreams. They do not only replay your past, they prepare you for your future. They weave your small, fragile story into the vast, unbroken story of humankind. So the next time you wake with someone's face still vivid in your mind, don't push it away. Pause. Ask, listen. Because the dream has spoken, and what it says is for you. If you've watched this far, it means something here touched you. Maybe it was a face in a dream you couldn't forget. Maybe it was the idea that every person who visits you at night is more than just memory. They are a message. Now I want to ask you, what in this video opened your eyes the most? What felt unusual, surprising, maybe even a little unsettling, but true? Share it below. Dreams are not random. They are the hidden language of the soul. And when we learn to read them, our lives begin to make sense in ways we never expected. This channel exists to keep exploring those hidden truths, from Jung's vision of the shadow, to the mysteries of synchronicity, to the secret ways the unconscious shapes our destiny. So if you felt a spark here, know this: the other videos will take you even deeper, to questions you may have carried your entire life. Start with this one. Carl Jung, How Your Dark Side Can Reveal Your Life's Purpose. Subscribe, leave your reflection, and let's keep decoding together. Because the dream never ends. It only waits for you to keep listening.